Conscious reality.
You got to be honest with yourself when you are trying to date. Many of us aren't honest with ourselves because we don't see ourselves for what we are. We see ourselves in our head from what we've been through. Maybe we feel better about ourselves. Maybe we have went through some things and now we feel a lot better or we're in a better place. But just because we're in a better place doesn't mean that we are in the best place. You know, when you are, like, for instance, when you are selling food, when you're advertising something like a food or something, like a sandwich, you want to make sure the thing that you're advertising, it looks the best. Everything is plumped and put together and separated perfectly fine. And I think when it comes to our lives, whether it's our bodies, our minds, we got to make it look really amazing. Because the better it looks, is the more people are going to be drawn to it, naturally. Now, the question is, are we really ready to be in relationships? And if we don't, see, here's the thing. Let's not use the other gender. Let's use us. We're not worried about the other gender right now. We're talking about us. Because the problem is not usually on the outside. We say it is because we want to take the pressure off ourselves. Because, of course, if you blame the outside, the inside, or you will never have to change. It's like a victim doesn't ever have to change because it's never their fault. So if you become a victim and it's them, it's the men, it's the woman, then you never have to change. And that's why you attract the same thing every single time. So let's look at our lives. Let's look at it for real when we are dating. Let's start with one thing. Let's look at our bodies. Would you date somebody who looks like you? Be honest. Would you love their bodies that look just like yours? And why? Is it because you settled for yours or because you think yours is beautiful? Let's be honest. When you look at yourself in the mirror, what do you see faults? Do you see flaws? And don't say the thing about I'm imperfect or perfect. I'm talking about what do you see? Can it be better? Can you work on it? Can it be a lot better or just a little bit better? How much better can it be? Because a lot of us don't see the truth. Many of us give up. Many of us just accept what we look like because we are tired. We say, F it, I don't care. But would you date somebody who looks like you? Do you want this? Do you want this looking at you, looking back to you when you're about to make love? When you're in the bedroom laying down, are you turned on by this? Would you be turned on by this every single time? As soon as you see them, turned on, ready to go. Would you date you? Do you like this? Do you like what this looks like? Because that's what people are seeing. That's what people are looking at. And a lot of times, the reason why you can't find that person is because they don't look at you. Let's be honest. They don't look at you and they are drawn to you. They look at the sandwich online and it's not a pleasing looking sandwich. So they don't even want to taste it just to see how it tastes. Have you ever seen some type of food that it looks funny so you won't even taste it? It might taste really good. But just the first look, you're like, nah, I'm good. I'm okay. I'll pass. Some of our bodies look that way. Look at somebody's body. Go online and look at Will Smith or Idris Elba or one of those guys. Or these women, Jennifer Lopez or Beyonce. Look at their bodies. What would be the reaction of the average person when they see those people? Be like, ooh, that person look good. That person's attractive. Ooh, I want that. When you look at yourself, would you think that's what you will see? If not, you got to put some work in on your body. Get to a place where you love seeing you, where you enjoy your own body without looking in the mirror and not finding flaws. Number 2, your attitude. Would you date somebody with the same attitude? Would you? Somebody would always ready to go off, always ready with the aggression, always ready for a comeback, spitting hot fire. Would you date somebody like that? Number 3, let's look at healing. Would you date somebody who is not healed? Would you date somebody in your healing and in your same healing process? Somebody who's always triggered? Somebody who's always angry, easily angered? Somebody who can't be still? Somebody who's always overthinking? Is that attractive? Do you like that? Would you date that? Would you be okay with that? Next one. Would you date somebody who judged themselves? Because a lot of us, we judge ourselves. Our mental is not stable. Do you do that? Are you always self-critical? Do you judge yourself over everything? Are you a perfectionist? Would you date somebody just like that? Who never is satisfied? Who's always seeing flaws? Who's always seeing something is missing? Would you? Somebody who is psychologically damaged. Everywhere you go, somebody bothers you. You're in your emotions. You are in your feelings. You are always disturbed. Your spirit is always uneasy. Yeah, you mean well. And you have a beautiful heart, but you're psychologically messed up. Would you date that person? Would you? Financially, would you date somebody on your financial level? Are you financially able, successful? Health-wise, are you healthy? Will you date somebody who's sick? Who's always sick? Who's always in pain? It takes away from the relationships. It takes away from the dating. It takes away from having fun. It takes away from sexual experiences. It takes away. Would you date somebody in that position? Would you? See, many of us, the truth is many of us are not there. We don't do any work within ourselves. We don't try hard. We just think, well, take me as I am. And as we get older, we realize that ain't nobody taking you as you are. Because the ones who are taking you as you are is the ones who don't have any more options. And then you don't have any more options either. Yes, listen, you have the right to want what you want. We all do. You know, sometimes you want the Mercedes-Benz, but when it comes to your budget, you could only afford a little Ford Fiesta. But you get from point A to point B. Yes, we want to be lawyers and doctors, but you know, we probably work somewhere doing some job that we don't like. Yeah, because you're not qualified to be a doctor. You're not qualified for the position of being a lawyer, or you're not qualified for certain things, or you're not qualified for the Mercedes-Benz because your finances and your credit is not that great. We have to look at our lives for real. When it comes to dating, remember, you're always exchanging something for something. When you're dating, when you're sharing somebody's life, I gave you this, you gave me this back in return. And we have to be honest with ourselves. Many of us are not at that standard. Many of us don't want to admit it. Many of us, we make so much, listen, do you see those mistakes that you made when you were younger? Sometimes they don't ever leave you. I mean, yes, you are forgiven, but they stay with you. Like, for instance, if a guy went to prison for 28 years because he made a stupid mistake when he was 16, and you look at the guy, would you say, oh, you just came from jail 28 years? You can't find a job? Blah, blah, blah. Would you date him? Probably not. Some mistake stay with you for the rest of your life. They really do. Some really do. No matter if you're forgiven or not, some people will look at you differently. The place that you will work will be affected. The money that you will make will be affected. And it's not everybody. Some people are going to overcome it, but the majority, the average person can't. When you are dating, when you are giving this for that, when you're taking this in exchange of that, I want to make sure, before you give me that, I want to make sure it's good. I want to make sure it's physically good. It's physically sound. It's not sick. It's not hurt. It's not damaged. I want to make sure mentally and spiritually it's there. I want to make sure psychologically it's sound. Many of us ain't. Many of us are suffering. Many of us don't need a relationship. What we need is healing. In our bodies, in our minds, in our spirit. Look at your state of being and be honest with yourself. Because if you are not at your optimum, if you are not elevated in a certain way, you're going to have to settle and get what you, and nobody want to settle. I don't want to settle. Well, guess what? A lot of you, if you meet the man or woman that you want, they're going to be settling for you because you're not there. I don't know who I'm talking to. I ain't talking to nobody specifically. Because you're not there. You are not there right now. And you're not trying to get there because you're like, I'm busy. You're going to love me for me. Whoever going to meet me, you're going to accept my attitude, accept all my children, accept this, accept all this weight and all this skin, whatever it is. But no, people are stopped. People ain't accepting it no more. People are no longer accepting that because it's not theirs. It's yours. It's yours to handle. It's yours to fix. I realized I have to take charge of my life. Financially, physically, mentally, spiritually. You got to take charge of your life in all areas. The wound probably wasn't your fault, but the healing has to be your responsibility. And many of us ain't healing. Many of us just stop. We pause. And then we blame the other gender for why we're single. We blame them. Imagine if you couldn't blame nobody else. Imagine if there was no blame needed. Why would you be where you're at? Because blaming somebody is pointless. Blaming the other gender, the man or the woman. I don't come on here and I don't point the fingers. Because there's no fingers to point. This is your life. This is your choice. This is your reality. What are you doing about it? What are we doing about it? Why can you exchange this and get something that's good back? Can you get the man or woman that you want? If you can't, it's because something that you are given ain't it. If you have this great product and it can't be sold and it can't be given and nobody wants it, I don't know. Maybe something is not as great as you think. Maybe you are seeing yourself from a wrong angle. Maybe you got to look deeper. Because if you have a great product that works, that product will be in the market. It's not about to hurt nobody's feelings, but I want us to start taking accountability. Nobody likes this. Nobody likes to hear this type of conversations. Nobody enjoys somebody telling you the problem might be you. You are not up to par. Maybe, nobody wants to hear that it might be your issue, your mental, your physical, your emotional. People look at you. Just like how you look at a man or a woman and say, oh, I like that. That's attractive. People want to look at you and say the same thing. Put your body in that place. Nobody should grow old without seeing how powerful their bodies are, how strong their bodies are, how healthy their bodies are. You shouldn't get old and not experience that. Take charge of your life so that when you're ready to go on the market, when they look at you, they know that they have to come correct. You might think everybody come playing games, but people don't play games with their food. People eat their food. If it's something that's quality, people don't really play games with you a lot. Because when people can't afford to lose you because you are that woman, that man, they're not. They're going to be very gentle with you because they know what value that you bring. The question is, do you know what value that you bring? And if so, are you advertising it? Are you showing it? Are you being it? Are you speaking it? Are you embodying that value? The way you speak, the way you think, the way you feel about yourself, your attitude, your personality, your voice, your feminine or your masculine energy, your finances. Are you displaying it? Are you projecting it? Many times you're not. This is something that we must do before we start a date. We have to see what we are. Don't make excuses for why you're single. Be honest with yourself. Be real. Do you look like how you want to look? Are you seeing it? Or are you settling? Heal. Are you healed? Are you, I'm afraid to love. Would you still date somebody who resent their ex, who talk about their ex and who hate their ex still? Probably not. Because the energy goes to their ex. It's too much connection still there. There's too much thing going on with their past they're still connected to. So somebody else meeting you and all you speak about is your ex and you think about your ex. So therefore, when you see them, you see in your ex still. You still don't want to relax and be free and be vulnerable, be feminine because you're afraid, because you're still holding on to the energy from your ex. Are you still in that place? If you are, you got to be honest with yourself. It's not the other person's fault. It's not the person that they probably won't date you because the energy is still tied to your spirit. We got to look at ourselves from all angles and be honest with ourselves. Before we date, are we really ready? Are we at the highest? Are we at the top that we can? Are we really at our top? Are we really doing the most, or are we just watching TV, watching social media, texting and being on TikTok and Instagram and all this stuff, playing games and watching all these stupid programs and all this nonsense and watching all these shows on the TV? Or are we building, forgiving, being happy, being at peace? Because many of you say that you are at peace, but you're not at peace. You are just content with your failures. You're content with the life that you have. You are content with where you're at because you don't really believe that you can have more. So many of you are settling for something that you don't want to settle for. But it's what you have because you refuse to do the work. Everybody don't have issues like this. I hope you all get what I'm saying. No disrespect. Don't mean to offend nobody. You all have a beautiful day. Are you ready? Are you really ready? Blessings.